Necessity is the mother of invention.
Be ready to be fired with a bunch of details. This is
The Wonders of Physics. Hi, I'm Renzo Maxino.
And I am Berna A. Globio.
We are here to talk about electricity. Partner, what do you know about electricity?
Well, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, electricity is a form of energy that is carried through wires and is used to operate machines, lights, etc.
So with that, let us trace back a brief history of electricity.
And we have here our friends to discuss some of the pioneers of electricity.
There's Lawrence Joshua Domingo to give us some information.
The first discoveries of electricity were made back in ancient Greek. Greek philosophers discovered that when amber is rubbed against cloth, lightweight objects will stick to it. This is the basis of static electricity. This is the video about the first discoveries of electricity.
I'm going to try to shine a historical light on our language and tell you a story about the electric vocabulary. It all begins over 2,600 years ago. An ancient Greek called Thales of Miletus is thought to be the first person to observe what we would today call electrical phenomena. He discovered that a piece of amber, when rubbed with fur, could pick up small pieces of straw. In Thales' language, amber was called electron. For a long time, that was pretty much all anybody knew about the subject.
Thank you, Lawrence. That was a really informative one.
Now here's Denise to give us a brief background about Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Franklin was an American writer, publisher, scientist, and diplomat who helped to draw up the famous Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. In 1752, Franklin proved that lightning and the spark from amber were one and the same thing. The story of this famous milestone is a familiar one, in which Franklin fastened an iron spike to a silken kite, which he flew during a thunderstorm, while holding the end of the kite string by an iron key. When lightning flashed, a tiny spark jumped from theory, but was extremely dangerous. He could easily have been killed. Let me show you a video about Franklin's theory.
Well, I suppose I'll just have to prove it to you. You say lightning is God's justice. Very well. Then I shall hold God's justice in my hands. Oh, elephant wings. Here you go, Pooch. Come on now, don't be a nuisance. You wouldn't want to stand in the way of science, would you? Now, give me that. Catch him, Will. Get him.
I'm trying.
That does it. I'm proposing a strict leash law.
Just our luck. 2 inches of rain and not a single bolt of lightning.
I'm not so sure we need a bolt of lightning. Look, something's acting on this string. There's electricity up there, all right.
I don't see it.
Come on. Show yourself. Bet I can catch you. Come on. Afraid? Oh. William, Get the Leyden jar! The Leyden jar! We've got it, Will! We've got it!
Well, that's one magnificent work, right, partner?
Indeed. Partner, I guess there are more contributors in the field of electricity.
Of course, partner. Here's Thomas Edison to be talked about by Joanna.
Nearly 40 years went by before a really practical DC or direct current generator was built by Thomas Edison in America. Edison's many inventions include the phonograph and an improved printing telegraph. In 1878, Joseph Swan, a British scientist, invented the incandescent filament lamp within 12 months. Edison discovered a similar discovery in America. Swan and Edison later set up a joint company to produce the first practical filament lamp. Prior to this, electric lighting had been by crude arc lamps. Edison uses DC or the direct current generator to provide electricity to light to his laboratory, and later to illuminate the first New York street to be lit by electric lamps. In September 1882, Edison's successes were not without controversy. However, although he was convinced of the merits of direct current for generating electricity, other scientists in Europe and America recognized that direct current brought major disadvantages. I will let you watch a video about the inventions of Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison was born in Millen, Ohio on February 11, 1847. He didn't learn to talk until he was almost 4 years old. In school, he often daydreamed and was labeled as mentally slow by his teacher. Because of these comments, young Edison's mother took him out of school and homeschooled him. In 1854, his family moved to Port Huron, Michigan. Edison sold candy and newspapers on trains. He became a telegraph operator after saving the daughter of a station agent from an oncoming train. He moved to Louisville, Kentucky in 1866 and became an employee of Western Union. Starting in 1872, Edison worked on the quadruplex telegraph system. It allowed telegraphs to send and receive 4 signals at the same time on the same wire. Edison's system wasn't a new invention, but an improvement on the duplex system created by Moses G. Farmer and Joseph Stearns. Edison's first invention was a phonograph in 1877. Many people today incorrectly associate the phonograph with a record player. Edison's device recorded sound on the cylinders and was geared as a recorder for the voice, not for recording and playing back music. It was the gramophone that recorded to discs, and became the record player that we know today. Edison did not invent the first electric light bulb. He invented the first commercially practical incandescent light. Edison bought the patent on what was probably the first invented light bulb. Later, he came across Joseph Wilson Swan, who had developed and patented a working light bulb. Edison made Swan a partner and eventually bought him and his patent out, giving him full ownership of the patent. Edison patented a system for electrical distribution in 1880 in order to capitalize on his electric lamps. Edison used direct current to power his system, which had its limitations, and when these limitations were made public, Edison launched a propaganda campaign to convince people of the superiority of direct current. This War of the Currents, as it was called, brought in the involvement of Nikola Tesla, an inventor and rival of Edison who had created the alternating current power generator. Alternating current eventually proved to be a better system of transmitting power. In 1888, Edison started working on inventing a motion picture camera. Edison passed on the work of creating the camera to one of his assistants. Edison himself had very little involvement in the invention. On May 20th, 1891, the kinetoscope and the kinetograph were revealed. Moving images were taken with the kinetograph and shown through a peephole on the kinetoscope. Some of the things that Edison filmed with this early motion picture camera included a man doing tricks on his single-gear bike and 2 cats boxing with each other. One of the lesser-known ideas of Edison was concrete furniture. It came from a failed attempt at making concrete houses. Edison used what was supposedly a lightweight foam concrete to manufacture various home furnishings. Edison shipped out some of his furnishings to put them on display, but they arrived broken up. This caused Edison to close down his line of concrete creations for good. Many today consider Edison to have been an atheist, but this is not true. Edison had spiritual and religious beliefs that were a mix between pantheism and deism. Thomas Edison never really invented major breakthroughs. He took credit for the inventions of others, and most of his patents were modifications on already existing ideas. Edison was, however, a very good businessman, and used his business skills to improve on current ideas instead of inventing new ones. Edison died of complications of diabetes on October 18, 1931. While there are lesser-known inventors who have done greater things than Edison and are more deserving of the praises and rewards given to him, there is no doubt that he certainly had an impact on the world. So ends the history of Thomas Edison.
Thank you for that very awesome info, Miss Joanna.
Partner, have you ever heard about Nikola Tesla?
Of course, he's quite familiar.
Well, do you want to know more about him?
Of course, partner.
So here is Barbara Bertolome.
Nikola Tesla is a Serbian-American inventor and researcher who discovered about the rotating magnetic field, the basis of most alternating current machinery. He emigrated in the United States in 1884 and sold the patent rights to his system of alternating current dynamos, transformers, and motors to George Westinghouse in the following year. In 1891, he invented the Tesla coil, an induction coil widely used in radio technology. Nikola Tesla inventions have been so very advanced to his time, and a lot of people doesn't understand its worth. Despite what you have learned, Benjamin Franklin did not invent electricity. In fact, electricity did not begin when Benjamin Franklin when he flew his kite during a thunderstorm or when light bulbs were installed in houses all around the world.
Tesla, inventions, alternating current. This is where it all began, and what ultimately caused such a stir at the 1893 Chicago World's Expo. A war was leveled, ever after, between the vision of Edison and the vision of Tesla for how electricity would be produced and distributed. The division can be summarized as one of cost and safety. The DC current that Edison, backed by General Electric, had been working on was costly over long distances and produced dangerous sparking from the required converter, called a commutator. Regardless, Edison and his backers utilized the general dangers of electric current to instill fear in Tesla's alternative, alternating current. As proof, Edison sometimes electrocuted animals at demonstrations. Consequently, Edison gave the world the electric chair, while simultaneously maligning Tesla's attempt to offer safety at a lower cost. Tesla responded by demonstrating that AC was perfectly safe, by famously shooting current through his own body to produce light. This Edison-Tesla feud in 1893 was the culmination of over a decade of shady business deals, stolen ideas, and patent suppression that Edison and his moneyed interests wielded over Tesla's inventions. Yet, despite it all, it is Tesla's system that provides power generation and distribution to North America in our modern era. To know more about Tesla inventions, alternating current, please click the link below in the description box.
Oh, that's some kind of rivalry. But still, thanks to them.
Let us now move on to our next pioneer to be discussed by Berlin.
Michael Faraday. The credit for generating electric current on a practical scale goes to the famous English scientist named Michael Faraday. Faraday was greatly interested in the invention of electromagnet, but his brilliant mind took earlier experiment further. If electricity could produce magnetism, why couldn't magnetism produce electricity?
In 1831, Faraday found the solution. Electricity could be produced through magnetism by motion. He discovered that when the magnetism was moved inside a coil of a copper wire, tiny electric current flows through the wire. Of course, by today's standards, Faraday electrodynamo or electric generator was crude and provided only a small electric current. He discovered the first method of generating electricity by means of motion in magnetism field.
Well, that's one great work, don't you think so, partner?
Yes, it was. And lastly, let us now move on to Angelica Rivera to discuss about Andre Marie Ampere.
Ampere's most important publication on electricity and magnetism was also published in 1826. It is called Memoir on the mathematical theory of electrodynamic phenomena, uniquely deduced from experiments and contain a mathematical derivation of the electromagnetic force law and described for experiment. Andre Marie Ampere, who has been called the Newton of electricity, along a wire flow is analogous to the surge of water through a pipe. The diagram shows two pipes, one twice the width of the others. In the given time, twice as much water comes from the wider pipe, just as the rate of water flow in measure in coulombs per second, a coulombs being a unit of electrical quantity. I will show you a video about Andre Marie Ampere.
Created using Powtoon.
Over the centuries, there have been many discoveries made about electricity. We've all heard of famous people like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Edison. But there have been many other inventors throughout history that were each a part in the development of the electricity.
And those are some of our pioneers in the field of electricity. Once again, I'm Renzo Magsino.
And I'm Berna A. Glaubio.
Looking forward to see you again via this station.
And hoping that you'd learn something today.
Have a great day.
Have a nice day.
I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass,